And not just the Smite World Championship for PC, but also the Console League as well. All the teams are actually fighting at the moment to get to the World Championships. You can go as well. Head over to hi-rezexpo.com for your tickets there, and you'll be able to come and see me and Tolly.
Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful time. It's not just going to be Smite as well. We got Paladins for you guys, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out.
Anyway, on to today's game. It's the final game of Europe today on the console scene. It's going to be Rival up against eXcellence. Rival looking very dominant at the moment over in Europe with their 13 points.
They do have 4 wins, 1 split, whereas eXcellence, they've been struggling a little bit. They only have 5 points right now, 1 win, 2 splits. They need to figure out a way to get out of that hump and get in that top 2 spot.
And coming against the #1 team right now, Rival, obviously with their roster changes here, adding Watson to that list has really strengthened this team, I feel, and they all seem to be on the same page.
Which is interesting because we've seen Soar go through roster changes, but it hasn't been working out for them. But for Rival specifically, they got something figured out, and they've been rolling with it very well. And the last time that these two teams faced off against each other, it was not looking good at all for eXcellence. There was 2 surrenders in a row, 10 minutes and 17.
I mean, 10 minutes is the one that you're really looking at.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a game 1, though, so I guess they were looking to bounce back in game 2. Didn't happen their way. Let's see this time, though, if we can see some differences out of eXcellence here. Maybe take this game a little bit longer, especially with reinforced boots and greaves being available. That could help things out.
It's going to make sure that you get into that mid to late game team fight. As long as you're confident in your team fight, in your synergy, you're going to be able to get there. As long as you can also find somebody out of position is the key factor to get that early game lead.
Well, Rival will be first pick, first ban here, and expectations in the banning phase, Tolly. Anything situational you're expecting here? Is it going to be the general focus?
More than likely the general focus for Rival. They're going to try to get one of the great Guardians, whether it's going to be the Terra or the Fafnir specifically, whereas eXcellence probably going to try to get at least a Terra off the table.
We'll see what happens. Ratatosk got banned out immediately against eXcellence here, so over to eXcellence now, and we will see if it's going to be Terra or Fafnir banned from them, or they may just leave both up to hope to get one for themselves.
It's very possible. It's not a bad strategy to leave both open, get one guaranteed at least for themselves, but it's not going to be the case. Terra is going to be banned by eXcellence.
Back to Rival one more time here. A lot of options available to them here. They could even throw away this ban just to give themselves something more options available, because eXcellence can't ban anything, but clearly they don't want to deal with Nemesis.
It seems that Rival are going for a jungle strategy by banning away this Ratatosk or Nemesis. Probably going to try to first pick this Susano. They're probably expecting a Fafnir ban, and that wouldn't be a bad idea at all for Rival.
It's going to be the Ao Kuang ban. So Susano and Fafnir both available here. Now Fafnir overall, even in North America yesterday, we didn't see too many Fafnir picks. Overall, it seems like people have started to drop off with this Dwarven Guardian.
It just seems that you're more relying on other strategies, easier setups. Fafnir doesn't have the easiest setup in the world. He has a nice disarm, which is very easy to hit, but that hammer is not that easy.
Well, Rival taking the time about it. They will look in the Fafnir, though. Back to it. So at least Europe are adopting the Fafnir still. Continuing on. It does allow you to play the Freya Kronos as well if you want to in that duo lane.
You want to try to get those late magical hunters online, and Fafnir can synergize so well off of that, increasing their attack speed ever so greatly. And look at this tier pick, surprisingly enough, by eXcellence. It's very early on in the draft.
And it is very early. I mean, there's matchups for tier, though, in the solo lane. How many bad matchups does he really have, Tolly?
Not too many. The only thing that would really shut him down is any sort of cripple, anything that would stop his fearless combination. Ares. That Ares, though. But it's going to be the Susano and the tier for eXcellence.
Now you pick Ares, because Susano not very good against Ares either, if you can land those chains as well.
Absolutely. Cripple would shut down the Susano, as well as any sort of wall, with the exception of the Odin cage, because you could use your jet stream through that.
That's true.
So Rival going to pick up the Freya right now before the next banning phase.
Makes
I like the
perfect
smart.
sense to take it now for themselves. So that duo lane already locked in. If eXcellence don't actually look towards their Hunter here, or their Guardian, Rival have opportunities to ban those away in this next phase.
It's going to be the Sun Wukong trying to have a relatively safe and flexible soul laner, can easily clear level 3 and 4, can out-rotate the tier with the bird form, so very smart to pick this up. Your options for soul lane are the Sun Wukong and the Vamana if you're trying out rotate here.
Well, it will be Raijin for eXcellence in the mid lane there. It means they're not really too worried about their duo lane getting banned out here. Leaving them both available as well means that Rival could really look at only banning one, not both as effective.
Pretty strong mid-jungle synergy for eXcellence. Between the Susano and Raijin, you're going to find the pull into a lot of damage off of the drums from Raijin, especially if his passive is up.
Very surprised by that Kronos ban by eXcellence. They know something I didn't realize here. Maybe Rival would look for Kronos and Freya on the same squad. I mean, it is a double opportunity to use the coerce onto two hyper carry mages in the late stages of the game.
That's true. There is still Rama available. There is the Jing Wei. that you could potentially run in middle that would synergize very well with the Fafnir. So surprising to see the Chronos ban, but it's going to be the Athena locked in for eXcellence. Really good crowd control options from eXcellence between the Fearless, the pull, and the taunt.
And Athena very good against Freya as well overall here. Obviously be able to lock her down, stop the pulse damage going out, force out the ultimate a lot of times.
And absorb some of those pulsey radiant combinations, more importantly, without taking too much damage. But look at this mid-jungle combination for Rival. It's a Thanatos Zeus.
I mean, Zeus in the early game can be aggressive if he's got someone to be aggressive with in that lane, but Thanatos isn't somebody that you'll see him go aggressive, but he won't like leap in. He'll use his scythe from distance looking to connect.
The problem with Rival strategy, or composition rather, is there's no setup already for the Zeus. Thanatos can get an easy setup. Fafnir has a stun. You're relying on the Freya whoop or maybe a Wukong Tiger stun, but
yeah, I think Zeus could have a big issue for Rival this game just because of the fact that he's got really no peel for his team either. I mean, Fafnir can peel from him a little bit, but normally you see the Fafnir go aggressive. And then again, some Wukong can slow or Tiger, and Thanatos, what has he got, a silence?
This is a death composition for Rival. Kill or be killed is their game plan going into this one. If they can get off to a really great early game lead, I expect them to snowball really heavily, especially with Thanatos having so much momentum. Once you have the Jotun's Wrath online for him, he's going to be able to get off his ultimate so frequently, especially with Zeus, because you don't need to necessarily get that execute with the ultimate. That could be the setup that they could go for.
Well, to start this game, you can see just one ward placed down on the right-hand side here by Team Rival. A little bit worried about the tier. Susano looking to invade the Thanatos and Wukong. It's not an easy one to really invade, but it is definitely viable. And we do see two Rafts on the junglers as well.
We also see two Shells on the Guardians, so they're both going for the same exact strategies. Nothing really too different between their starts, and it's going to be interesting to see how this mid lane progresses between the Zeus Thanatos combination between Raijin and Susano. I expect eXcellence to really control these mid Harpies early on.
Well, let's see if they can actually manage to do that one. But everybody just starting the buffs. As you'd expect, mid laners doing the red buff and the back Harpies along with the Hunter there just to continue things on. Thanatos and some Wukong are about pace at the moment with the Tin Susano.
Wrath being used on the blue buff, and with Thanatos in the jungle, he actually will out clear early on just off of his in-hands. He does have the splash on the third hit, and surprisingly enough, he's going into the laning phase just to be able to help some Wukong and prioritizing the Fire Giant elementals here over these right side mid Harpies.
We can already see Susano played by Maloaise here going straight to the right hand Harpies here early on. And will they rotate in for a kill here? Well, it looks like they're thinking about it. Some Wukong now coming over. Gnome looking to steal one away. Will force a reset. So only one Harpy dies there. And now they're going to get the Fire Elementals as well.
I think that one Harpy did go in the way of Gnome's favor. So a great job from Rival being able to deny one and reset the other. And now they still have a lot of options because left side mids are still up. They could get that one lingering Harpy on the right side. So already sitting at level 3, and they control the mid Harpies by themselves.
They do indeed. They're going to go around to the left now because of that push. And will we see eXcellence look to contest? No is the answer. They're going to fall back for their own back Harpies here. So early game lead, favor of Rival.
Great job from Gnome making that early game rotation with the cudgel. And this is an interesting matchup between Tyr and Wukong. Once the power cleave is going to be around level 2, Tyr's never going to die. But here, this is a tricky spot because Gnome could find the kill if Predators isn't careful.
Well, on the international stage, Gnome did play at the LAN recently, but at the same time, didn't have the greatest performance there. Was probably the most farmed solo laner in that LAN. Played a lot of some Wukong, but back into EU competitive play, and now Predators under a lot of pressure here. Thanks to Rapio's rotation, that will be first blood.
And that's the early game start that they need. It's going to be first blood credited to Gnome, so he's going to be able to get that small power spike over this tier. Now credited Thanatos doesn't really matter because now with this kill, you're shutting down the mana. There's no mana buff now onto Predators, and that should allow Gnome to stay in the lane pretty long and then look for a blue buff invade later.
Dash in there, coming out from Mr. Turtle for a second, but only focusing on clearing the wave. No one's going back to base there, but did get cancelled out there by Predators on this tier, both for level 5.
This one kill is going to allow Gnome to get boots 3 first and then look for the power play onto this blue buff, because now if the tier gets outpoked, his teleport has still a 155-second cooldown.
He just used it as well, and because of that, he's not going to have that extra damage from Warrior Tabby here to clear the wave. Some Wukong coming back with full boots here will allow more domination in the solo lane.
We didn't really talk about the dual lane so far. It seems that both Guardians are a little bit poked out, but Mr. Turtle slightly more.
Yeah, just a little bit too much on that side. He's going to be very passive in this one. You can see Zenborne looking for a little bit of aggression there, a little bit mistimed, though, overall with that disarm. If you want to do it, you want to try and do it while the minions are still there.
And the Coerce is also going to sustain Zenborne up, so this is why we see that difference of health pools. Mr. Turtle really needs to be careful here.
Yeah, surprisingly we see both the junglers going for the Wrath, though, looking for clear. I mean, Thanatos doesn't really need the Wrath with his clear and the Scythe overall, but it does give him a little bit of an opportunity of Gold Fury Fire Giant secure.
It seems that both these teams are thinking more objectively. They wanted to get at least one rat to be able to contest if the other one gets it. So great, smart plan in that case. With speed buffs respawning, both teams are electing to go for that option instead of their reds right now, allowing Rapio to make this rotation. We could see an invade after this blue.
We'll see what they choose to do there, because you mentioned as well the fight of decision-making. Zeus here, reinforced Greaves picked up very early on for the Zeus in mid lane. Worried about being all in. We mentioned that he's not going to get a lot of peel this game, so self-peel may be his only option.
This is smart because we saw yesterday Cloud picking up the tanky Zeus, and it wasn't really good because that they didn't have much damage, even though they had a Loki in the soul lane. But this time around, they have enough damage around the table that they can still go for a tanky Zeus and get away with it.
Well, there's no invade coming out from Rival here. As you can see in the jungle, Rapio was rotating around on Thanatos, but Speed and blew it down, so he's going to head back towards mid lane. Still, no ultimate used by the Thanatos just yet, something we're not used to seeing.
No, not at all. But with that one kill, he's still been making a decent presence so far. It's only 4 minutes in, and they have good control in the mid game. We see that they have the timers of these left side mid harpies from earlier. So, and there's also a difference between left and mid. It's about a minute or so. So they should be able to constantly take this off, and that would be a very good goal lead.
This is a 3v3 in the mid lane here, focusing on wave clear. A lot of free poke onto Maloaise there, who actually used his dash to get it escape more than anything else. Back to the safety, but knocked to 50%. Can we sustain in the jungle though with that Bomber's Mask?
You're going to have to sustain, but we also see the reinforced boots out of him. He's trying to be very tanky. He's not going to have that much damage, but he's relying on his pull for his initiation over the damage.
Mr. Till not going to get silenced there, but does get that either hammer over the wall. Nicely done from Zenborne there. And now it looks like Rival wanting to commit onto the Gold Fury here. Nobody from the boys of eXcellence are around for this one, and this won't take too long with a Raph on their team as well. And as you can see, less than 10 seconds and it's already dead.
So smart play coming out of Rival. They have the area of effect coerced from Zenborne with the dragon form. They have a lot of bursts coming out of Watson and Rapio, and they have the Rap.
Nothing really too creative from Rival so far. It's just a rotation from Rapio to dual lane. So Susano that got them a kill, and then a free Gold Fury. No real answer from eXcellence either. I've not seen any aggression out of them.
More importantly was the fact that Maloaise was really poked out before into that Gold Fury, so they were planning on trying to bait him out, maybe kill him instantly before the Gold Fury was even being started.
It does seem that eXcellence had just sat back at the moment though, Talia. They're waiting for more of a mid-game team fight opportunity here more than anything else. They just want to get through the early game.
They have the better control, I would say, at the side of eXcellence. They have the tier, the Athena, they have the Susano. They're even going very tanky Susano just to try to set up this Raijin in the mid to late game. But if they don't survive the early game, if they keep giving up these Gold Furies, then that's going to be problematic.
Very true. Maloaise in the mid lane, level 7, one level behind Rapio at the moment, but the whole wave of experience in mid lane will help them out a little bit on the march forward. Is Gnome, level 10, 2-level lead over Predators here at the moment. Obviously, still a minion wave here and a very good Tiger.
It's the best idea to try to Tiger form from the side because you're still going to be able to get knocked up, and that's very problematic for some Wukong. So utilizing really good mechanics there with speed buff respawning for both teams, and it seems that Rival really want to make a play here on solo lane, it looks like.
Trying to pressure Predators a little bit. Rapio not going to use his ultimate here, and the recall coming out from Predators may just force the issue in terms of Rapio moving away, but instead Predators will hang around, and Athena doing the speed buff right now, Mr. Till, with Maloaise there on the Susano, and Rapio. Predators had an idea something was up there.
He knows that, like, that somebody was lingering around. Speed buffs are respawning. That means both junglers are around that corner, especially with a global presence from Thanatos. You have to respect it, always.
Oh, we could have potentially seen a team fight over those fire lanterns of all things there, but immediately eXcellence back up as you see the rotation from Rival coming in once more, and Rival just pick them up and then go back to do their own jungle as well.
2 out of 3 for the Fire Giant Elementals for Rival, and in the dueling, we haven't really talked about this Freya versus Jing combination. Fatalis is online for Atonement, and he's going to be trying to look for maybe a sneaky banish play and look for some more poke, because right now there's a lot of sustain, I would say, on the side of the Jing, but it's not fully stacked, so you could still take advantage of it.
Well, the funny thing is they've both got a lot of sustain. The difference is that Jing will be using her ability to go back to base as well as the Devour's Gauntlets here, whereas Freya, obviously, her passive, she gets increased lifesteal, so those pull shots will heal her as time goes on.
Both teams grouping up in middle. It's going to be a pull under the tower and a nice taunt. Raijin following up with some good damage, but it's not really enough.
Oh, that ult was a little bit late from Watson there. Really tried to to commit, but eXcellence recognize it and fall back. And Zenborne was the one that really ate a brunt of the pain there. I'm surprised Fafnir ate so much poke.
It's a lot of poke. It's still early on right now. It's still only a level 8 Fafnir. He has a decent amount of protections between Reinforced Greaves, Mark of the Vanguard, and also depending on how much gold he's sitting on. A Zeus Ultimate was expended just to try to zone away eXcellence under their own tower. Not really going to get anything off of it, and they're really fortunate that they used this after the Gold Fear was already secured.
Exactly, I completely agree. And I think because of that, Rival may just sit back on looking for aggression from the mid lane area, just because, you know, no ultimate available for Watson here. They can just sit back and farm. And talking about farming, Gnome, split push proxy in now. The right-hand side.
This is the best timing that you could do it because he has the Breastplate of Valor completely finished. He should be able to survive down. A nice double taunt, forcing out the Purification. Predator's trying to find the Fearless, but going to get stunned out by Zenborne.
But now no round the back, still going aggressive, and Maloaise takes a lot of free poke there. Shell pops on both teams, and immediately Maloaise does jet stream away to safety. There's going to be no additional blink if I say that, but Rapio comes in with the ultimate, and Mr. Turtle did not know that was coming.
And the chain line going to secure the kill. Fly going to fall as well. No making a great rotation, still having his ultimate for sustain if necessary, and that's going to be Rival controlling mid completely. They should be able to get this tower, and it's going to give free farm to Atonement on the left because Jing has to cover mid.
Yeah, very surprised there because they could have actually pressured that tier 1 tower a little bit more, but a little bit worried about the Jing. Decided they'll just take the win of the 2 kills, pick up the fire elementals, and head back to farming. Rapio on the right, and now Atonement looking for a fight in the jungle.
This is what you have to do because Atonement pushed a wave under left tower, so now you sit in the jungle, you wait for the rotation from Farleez, and you prevent them from getting that wave of gold and experience.
A whole wave as well, not just like 1 or 2 minions. That was the whole wave that just died. Now we can go back, farm up the next one, and obviously on top of that, it'll mean Farleez has to play very passive one more time. There's a minion waves there. Talking about passive, Predators need to be very careful here. A lot of poke onto him early on, even for a tanky tier.
Predator's going to get poked down, and look at his teleport cooldown. It's 160 seconds, and Goldfear is respawning in about 30 or so. So this is going to allow Gnome to make the rotation beforehand. Rival have a slight power play with this difference of the timer.
Yeah, nothing to really farm in the jungle for them right now. And Gnome, he probably needs to take a trip back to base before he makes this rotation, just make sure he's full health and full mana before that Gold Fury spawns here at the moment. Rapio back to mid lane though, farming this wave up.
It could also give him a nice little power spike. He probably has enough for a tier 2 magical defense item, trying to survive against the burst coming out of this Raijin, because right now he doesn't have to worry about physical too much right now. It's still early game for the Jing. The Susano is going very tanky with the Reinforced Greaves into the Void Shield, so all he has to worry about is the initial burst from the Raijin ultimate.
Well then, I just saw Atonement on the Freya, head back to base, and picked up what looks like it's going to be a Witchblade as well to go with the Fatality. So it's not something we see too often, the double combo.
It's not a bad idea because just a tier Fearless combination does a lot of damage. Having that physical protection will allow you to survive it, as well as, even though Susano is tanky, he's going to do a decent amount with his initial poke.
Well, this time around, eXcellence know the Gold Fury is being done because they had a ward down, but zone duty from Gnome and Zenborne keeping him busy. Gold Fury chip below half health already. He's going to be down before anybody, and eXcellence can get in range.
And Predators was just not there in time, now making the rotation underneath. Mr. Turtle going to get stunned out and slowed. Nice little loop. The Typhoon's going to dissect the team fight in half.
They still want Mr. Turtles is what they were looking for, and there's Rapio going in for him again, but the Taunt of the Tower is going to put Rapio in danger as well. He only had Wrath, so no Purification to escape that. They will limp back, though, Rival, happy with the result of at least getting the Gold Fury.
And Predator's going back to the right-hand side, just going to grab the blue buff. You might as well steal something away from the enemy team if they're going to commit that hard on the left side. Should be allowing him to catch up into some gold and experience, because we see he's still struggling. He's 1 level behind Gnome at the moment.
At the same time, Tully, you can't just keep giving Gold Furies up like that. That's the second one in a row. You know, 11 minutes in, 2 Gold Furies down for absolutely free. There's not really been any comeback. A blue buff stolen. That's it.
And we see in the right-hand mid-Harpies, though, a nice little Athena taunt to keep the Zeus alive, though. He's going to find the Purification, but he's really low.
He is low, but he's still going to get a lot of damage off. And now in for the kill. They're looking with it, with Predators coming in with the Fearless. Not going to find Watson, no. The dot damage is there from the Bluestone, and the dunk is good. Going to slow him for a second. 1 more, 2 more hits will be enough. Power Cleave comes through, but now it's Predators in a bit of trouble.
So far, it's been a 1-for-1. A nice little double Fearless combination, but the rest of his team doesn't want to commit. A nice pull. Raijin still holding on to his abilities. Gnome going to miss that Tiger Stun, and Freya's going to come in. Could be able to clean up here.
Well, what he's going to look for, he's actually going to try and pick up Maloaise. He uses the jet stream, and now the focus is on Fly. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Predators still isolated and alone. They're trying to juke out the power cleaves to make sure he can't heal. And now 50-meter Fly. Well, he's going to 50-meter die.
That's going to be a 3-for-1 so far in the favor of Rival. They're getting the Gold Furies, they're getting the kills, and soon to follow, they're surely going to get these towers.
Where can they really get a tower? Maybe mid lane? No, there's so many people. It's so difficult to get a tower against a Jing way here, totally.
That's true. The problem is Freya right now. She kills players, but she doesn't kill towers right now, and that's fine because they have a great experience lead. And once they're getting to this late game, the Freya's just going to benefit even better off of this, especially with this Fafnir.
I mean, you don't even need to see the graphs to see the experience lead between the two teams here. I mean, you can see the jungle. There was a 2-level lead there. Mid lane's about a 2-level lead, and it comes to about 5,000, which at 12 minutes in, it's 1,000 experience per player on that team, basically, if you break it down.
It's 13 minutes in right now, and this is something that Rival really needed to do with their kind of early game draft. We mentioned that it's kind of kill or be killed, but with this Thanatos Zeus combination, it just seems that eXcellence, they weren't really utilizing their crowd control options between the Susano and Athena.
Well, Rapio here on the Thanatos, going for the sort of old school dirty bubble build. You might not recognize it on console. He actually plays in the SPL now under a different name. However, he did create this sort of build of full tank Thanatos that could weather the storm and still be a very big nuisance with that Death Scythe and the silence.
He still does a lot of base damage with his abilities, taking a percentage health off with that Death Scythe. You have a lot of mobility as long as somebody's in that execute threshold, so you can get in and out of combat very easily. So as long as he's baiting a lot of abilities, it's also going to allow the Zeus to follow up.
Well, this is the thing as well. So you kept saying, you know, they've got a very aggressive composition, a lot of damage on this team, kill or be killed. But they're building this very aggressive lineup that's got a lot of defense in it. Obviously, Watson as well. And now even with the Witchblade being picked up by Freya, they're all going for damage reduction, defensive usage. They find a kill in mid.
Maloaise just a little bit overextended. His defense not helping him survive that one. Still under leveled, only level 11. So that's going to allow the rest of Rival to maybe siege this mid tower. But Rapio is making the rotation on the right-hand side. He's feeling that maybe he can help out Gnome for that kill.
Well, his speed buff was looked at and stolen away there by Predators, and Predators just get back to the tower safely. So at least Predators is trying to do something for his team here. He's stolen the blue, stolen the speed over to the dual lane, and Farleez was actually winning that trade until the pulse came up.
Atonement doing a good job so far, winning this trade. And despite the speed buff going down, it did seem that Rapio stole the speed from eXcellence anyway. So overall, securing it for himself. A nice little taunt onto Atonement. Going to follow up with some damage, forcing out the purification.
It was a very late purification, though, coming down. The airstrike going to go down too. Not really connected, but the reposition going to be allowed. Unfortunately, Atonement, though, going to banish, but you can agility out of that and put him in a better position. Atonement still winning the trade and backing up, but Susano is on the way.
I like the confidence from Atonement because he's still having his ultimate. He's not being he's very patient right now with his ultimate, holding it until the very last second.
Seems that eXcellence will recognize the Rival, maybe rotating as well, so they fall back to the tower, allow Atonement to get away with his life. Didn't use his ultimate there, Atonement, just the purification overall, and had Sanctuary to spare if it was required.
And Gold Fury is going to be respawning momentarily. So far, the tiered teleport is still not available. It's not been syncing up with these Gold Furies, whereas on the side of Gnome, we see that it's still available for him.
But at the same time, you can see that Tier 1 tower has been chipped pretty heavily down by Predators with these rotations coming out from Gnome here. Both now level 16. The gold difference between them is still 900, though. Is a lot of gold between the two solos.
At this point in time, 16 minutes in, it's definitely worth sacrificing your Tier 1 solo tower for this Gold Fury. Predator's going to spot out Gnome in the bird form, making his rotation towards middle, and this should be a telltale sign that he's going to try to go for this Gold Fury.
Well, by him being here on his own, he can keep the speed buff being busy while the rest of his team can look towards the Gold Fury again. Gnome doing exactly what he needs to and make an eXcellence, make a decision. Do you want to defend your speed or your Gold Fury?
There's nobody here except for the Jing, and it's going to be against a Wrath onto Rapio. There's no way she can really stop this on her own, and that's going to be a third free Gold Fury for Rival.
And not only that, I believe the speed buff was stolen away as well by Gnome, just to continue adding to this one. The gold lead is getting out of hand now. eXcellence, they need to look back at this game individually and just be like, listen, we can't give up Gold Furies for free over and over again. We're not going to get anywhere if you just give them things for nothing.
Smite is an objective-based game. You have to be able to take something if you're not going to get the main objective at this point. Gold Fury is very powerful. Fly just getting chunked.
They're just being so passive, eXcellence here. They're just allowing Rival to come onto them and just pick up these kills over and over again. eXcellence are so focused on running away every single time, and all it means is you just get chipped away at until you're either dead or you're falling back to base anyway.
Rapio, he's trying to find the kill onto, and he does with the Death Scythe from a distance. Great job. He's going to get back his health. Going to look for a double kill onto this Athena. Her dash is not available. Zenborne stealing that one away.
So they pick up 3 kills for nothing. Farleez now going to find Watson in the jungle alone, but the Sanctuary's going to buy him a second for his team to rotate in, and Farleez has to use the airstrike to disengage based off that one as well. And just watch what happened there, Tolly. They go 3v3 in mid lane. They pressure the tower. eXcellence fall back, then get dived and all die. side lanes can't even come in because they're being contested by the opposition side lanes.
The problem is that it's Rival making the first move. eXcellence needs to try to force out these purifications between the Athena, the Susano, and if you're going to allow the Zeus to get off the first hit, then of course they're going to be able to out-poke you, and that's exactly what happened. Fly got poked out. He had to go back to tier 2, and then we saw Rapio come in for the clean dunk depth side combination, wiping out the Raijin.
I mean, you know life is bad when everybody on the enemy team is higher in damage than everybody on your team overall here. All of eXcellence just pinned back for the most part this game, and it's just been a slow march of death in favor of Rival here. And with a Thanatos in the jungle, that's kind of what you want.
And that's exactly what they're going to get as well. They're going to have backup plan with the Freya for the late game, so Thanatos helps them get out of that early stage, and then the closer is going to be Atonement with the Fafnir coerce. I like the composition from Rival, and more importantly, they've been executing it very well, getting these objectives.
Just look at that fearless chain that just came off from Predators there. Didn't really touch Rapio whatsoever. Half health after a full combo from Predators. Predators realizing though that Gnome's out of mana here is allowing him to pressure the blue, forcing Watson to now rotate, but so is eXcellence. This could be the first time eXcellence look for some aggression here in the jungle.
It's going to be Watson getting juggled, and that's going to be a lot of damage, forcing the Zeus ultimate on himself. The purification not going to save him this time. A nice clean kill. There's still no mana onto Gnome though.
And Gnome's still trying to fight. He's got a blue buff though, so that mana is coming back slowly, but what can he do with it? He needs to ultimate probably very soon, but going to try and disengage with the transformations. Thunder Crash in, however, looking for the pickup. He's still going to survive and get to the cloud, and Rapio, well, he's going to look for Maloaise.
He's going to try. He gets it. He's going to find the dunk down, getting the health back. It's still going to be a 2-on-2, though. Predator is going to be able to juggle out Rapio, but he has the speed buff, so he should be able to walk away.
Well, Predator still wants to give chase. Unfortunately, that power cleave doesn't connect Turtle. Still trying to support Predators as Rapio gets back to the safety of his tier 1 tower. And that's it. That's the first time we saw eXcellence go aggressive. The bad news is, Tully, it was just too late in the game, I feel.
And that's going to be an engagement on the left, although Athena not being able to really get in position there. Yeah, nice play from eXcellence, finding that initial kill. They couldn't really get anything off of it. Maloaise getting traded 1-for-1. Predator still looking for some poke onto Rapio, but now he's in a 1v3 spot.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is on Predators right now. He's done a lot this game to try and make something happen. Even though he went down for first blood here, he's tried to make things happen for himself. However, in the duel in, more action as Atonement forced to ult. Farleez waiting for him to land, but nice little position in there from Atonement. Make sure those shots don't come through. Now Rapio with the rotation.
He's going to be able to find the Sanctuary, waiting very patiently for the depth side. Nice little knockup. Rapio could get turned on with Athena right here.
The Vanish comes out, now we're going to connect as well, and you will see the airstrike come out, so Farleez gets all the way back to the tier 1 tower. Watson wrapping around the back, however, on the Zeus, could potentially pressure them at the tier 2 tower if they're not careful about it, so they have to relinquish that tier 1 on the left.
See, this is the difference between Rival and eXcellence. Rival has just been able to capitalize slowly, objectively, with their small marginal gains, whereas eXcellence, they've gotten a few wins here and there, but they couldn't steal anything away on the flip side, so that's just why we see such a goal disparity between the two.
But just look how much time he's got to the tier 2 tower there, just forcing them all back, and Watson, who's pretty much gone for a very defensive build here, he still put out some raw damage with that Soul Reaver, as well as some now Obsidian Shard damage.
He's been able to survive to the point where the team doesn't even want to go on the Zeus any longer. They're just leaving him completely unchecked, and this is what allows him to get these free chain lightnings off the whole time.
Well, I guess that's the thing. Who do you really go on then? I guess it's Rapio, but Rapio's tanky too. Like, it's very difficult for him to really pick a target to go on now at this stage of the game.
At this point, you just have to be grouped up as 4 or 5, and you have to look for anybody, honestly. Just blow all your abilities on that one person that's out of position. You have to ward around, and you have to make a judgment call of, like, how far away is the help of this one isolated target.
Well, the only person to die on the side of Rival here is Watson in the mid lane, who's gone for that full tanky build. We expected him to be dived a lot this game, and he kind of started off that way for a little while, looking into the focus, but the rest of Rival really stepping up.
Watson going to force out the purification from him, so that could be an opportunity for eXcellence to keep on going afterwards. Predator's going to get poked out, so he has to be careful. He needs to find the defensive power cleave.
They're chasing into the jungle. There's nothing really available for them to take, although that blue buff on the right-hand side is available. And I think Rival recognize it. They will now, though, as Rapio swings in and sees Maloaise doing it.
I think Rival are feeling very frisky to attempt this Fire Giant start with Rapio zoning around the blue buff.
Well, Rapio's under a lot of pressure there, but at the same time, Farleez knows this is going on, as does Mr. Turtle. Neither of those have a Wrath, as Rapio ends up getting caught out of position, fighting when the rest of his team are busy doing the Fire Giant. This could be a mistake from Rival here, but Watson will take out Maloaise already. Both Wraths are down.
And now Farleez's going to be able to agility away. Atonement with a Fatal. It's going to get chased down. Fly. Sanctuary's down. A nice little second ability used there. Juggling Zenborne. And so far it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Rival.
Meanwhile in the mid lane, Atonement versus Farleez. The rage continues between the two. And Farleez could be under a lot of pressure, but going to agility away. The last shots will connect, but it's still one more hit required. And the tower comes into play a little bit. Rotation, however, from Gnome. Getting hit by that was not what he was after on that. And the blink in from Predators to slow them down will not stop Gnome getting the kill.
He found the Ox, but a nice Fearless. He's going to find Atonement for the damage. Gets the return kill, more importantly. So far, it's a 4 for 2, but Rival aren't done yet. They want the deicide.
They should be able to find Predators here as well. Looking for his power cleave. We'll find it for some more sustain. Watson is rotating in as well, looking for the chain line and not going to connect. And Predators may just get out here. Gnome's not wanting that to happen, though, but he has to give it up.
Yeah, he has to. He doesn't want to dive the Phoenix right now with a lot of members respawning on the side of eXcellence. Very ambitious play from Rival, trying to force out the Fire Giant. And then on top of that, having your Wrath Carrier zone is not the primary target you really want. You want to rely on Gnome to be that zoner.
So who actually, do you remember who got the kill onto Rapio there? Was it Tyr or was it Raijin? I can't remember.
I couldn't really recall at this point in time, but he was
gold lead, right?
He was a little too far overextended Rapio. Rival does have a very clear-cut lead, 10,000 gold lead, but you can't force Fire Giant in front of their face and then have your Wrath Carrier zone. You need to be able to bait out eXcellence closer to that Fire Giant buff. If you're going to have Rapio that far away, you'll never secure that fire.
Very true indeed. On top of that as well, I mean, we've seen a lot of Fire Giants stolen this week in the console league, so I'm going to keep your eye on that one as time goes on here. War Control is in favor of Rival. They're going to start the Fire Giant again. Predators, however, shows his face early and realizes he's at full health, so the rotation from eXcellence is on the way. They're all grouped up coming from the mid lane here, as Predators is just happy to watch and make sure it's not being bursted just yet.
Rival going to reset, and Gnome is the one in the front this time around. Zeus ultimate shade lightning going to chunk away Mr. Turtle. Both teams kind of dissecting back towards eXcellence, and Mr. Turtle's the first victim.
And game Mr. Turtle very key because he can't ult back into the fight then with full health. He's forced out. Meanwhile, the frontside Predators still looking for Watson, getting some fantastic damage off on his own here. Lawbringer will not get the kill as the Sanctuary from Watson is there in time.
He knew he had no way possibly out, so he wanted to try to get at least a return kill in the process. Watson he's still around here, but Fly is around the corner. He has the ultimate, but look at this, Gnome doing a good job forcing it.
Forces the Thunder Crash, forces the ultimate out of 50-meter fly as well. The Fire Giant is still being done right now, but it's taking a long time as there's only 2 of them at it.
It's still a good job though, because if you can have 3 members zoning the only 3 around the Fire Giant, then those 2 can easily secure fire, with this time Rapio having the Wrath. 25-minute Fire Giant going in the way of Rival. They're looking to close the first game out.
They're not even heading back to base just yet as well. They're looking for this Gold Fury by the looks of it after pushing out the mid lane, really looking to exploit it a little bit more. No, I tell a lie. They're not looking at gold at all. They're looking for the tier 2 in mid. A little bit risky until the full health here, Tony.
They're feeling very confident. They just want to look for the plays, look for the kills. If they can poke out anyone, maybe look for a kill, because it's a level 20 Freya with Fire Giant. Looking at her build, she has 5 items complete right now. Still trying to work on that Rod of Tahuti, trying to get a little bit closer after this Gold Fury.
Gold Fury will fall down for free here. Nobody from eXcellence available to really try and contest this one either. It's basically a Phoenix defense that needs to happen from eXcellence this time round. Now, obviously, if they try and hold it at tier 2 tower, or they get picked, it could spell doom. And talk about getting picked, that's what's happening to Farleez now. 3 shots, good night, sweet princess.
His side was turned, unfortunately, with a nice stun from Gnome. All it took was 3 shots from Atonement, and down goes Farleez. And now a little 5-on-4 power play for 50 seconds. And it seems Rival, they still don't want to spend their gold in hand. They want to get this most important left side Phoenix first.
How much do they lose out of this? Obviously, the tier 2 towers still remain on the side of eXcellence here, so they can only look at 1 Phoenix, and there's this one. And the fight is going the way of Rival already. The burst is just too much. The frontline Predators is already dead. Atonement looking for the backline of Mr. Turtle there. Not going to get him. He will escape as the Phoenix now being pressured.
I thought he was going to land on Mr. Turtle, but it's going to be the Susano instead. Gnome getting credited with that one. Left side Phoenix going down. It could be the Titan, but it's going to be a surrender instead. Not feeling very confident in his eXcellence.
I mean, to be fair, not feeling confident is one thing, but getting that far behind, there's just no reason to continue that game. Every fight was going against them as well. They just can't give up Gold Furies, Totally.
That was the main issue.
3 in a row.
It was also the first blood onto the tier. After that first blood, the teleport difference between Gnome and the tier right now, it was just too much of a gap, and that's what allowed the 2nd and 3rd Gold Fury to go in the way of Rival's favor.
Not enough ward placements down there, not enough at least contest, or at least look at contest coming out from eXcellence in game 1. We'll see if they can fix it in game 2, though, because if they can control those a little bit more, this game's not all cut and dry, as simple as Rival made it look.
I still like the picks coming out of eXcellence. They just didn't really execute it between the Susano and the Athena. It was a great rotation from Gnome. That one cudgel Stealing the first mid Harpy, resetting the other, gave the level 3 play to the Thanatos Zeus, which gave them the left side mid Harpies, and then the different timers between the two, left and right, is what allowed them to keep controlling the mid Harpies.
And not only that, it allowed Thanatos to then rotate to solo lane, help get that first blood for Gnome, which gave him an even more dominant position there. Good performance game one for Rival, though, overall. I think the composition was pretty interesting. It wasn't the standard thing we've seen in terms of peel there, but they made it work because of how tanky they went.
And that's what makes them really scary right now. With 14 points to their name, they're the #1 European console team and heading